Welcome back to the Capture Your Confidence podcast. We are talking today about the confidence to ask for help as a mom.
Raise your hand if you are a mom and you literally do everything yourself and you never ask for any help. And all you do is you spend time thinking about how you wish somebody else would come and do these things for you.
Yes. Or you do all the things and think that you're the only one that can do them, or there's no one else that can do them.
That's why you're friends with somebody like Stephanie Hannah, because the reframe is so tight and it's like directed like a silver bullet straight to your core. It's like, is that the story that you're telling yourself, or is that the honest to God truth? Because you and I both know that the way that you put the laundry away is not like some scientific formula that no one else could reproduce.
This is true. Yeah. And I think that once you have some of these realizations, and hopefully our conversation today helps with that, life can be a little bit easier and you can take some of the things off your plate.
I was having a talk with a couple of women at a retreat a few weeks ago, and they were talking about the stark difference between motherhood 100 years ago versus motherhood today, and how tribal and village oriented raising children was in the past, and how today it's so singular. And add the additional pressure of women now, many women, at least in our circle, being breadwinners in their families, and they're toggling both the pressure of being the provider and being the nurturer at the same time.
Yeah.
It's unmanageable.
Yes. Yeah. We've never had to do what we're doing now. And then somehow we've also flipped the narrative in our own mind that we're not doing enough. Like, this is the most we've ever had to do. And yet somehow we can make it not good enough.
And I think so much of that is just our access to what everyone else is doing too. That comparison was not a problem, I don't think, I'm sure 100 years ago, women were comparing themselves to other women in their village, but it was so small. I mean, maybe you had 10 other women to compare yourself to instead of hundreds of thousands, right? Your access to watching how someone else is doing how you do things is unparalleled. And so it's really easy to slip into that. But I think each of us, and there's no one person that's doing this great, each of us has a job to do when it comes to learning to ask for more support.
Yes.
When it comes to being a mom.
I think so. Okay. So let's backtrack a little. What feels so hard, like for you personally, when it comes to asking for help?
Yeah, I think it's just the feeling of being a burden. So I have a lot going on in my life and in my business. And so I am taxed, right? Emotionally and mentally taxed. And the idea that I would take some of that emotional and mental tax and place it on someone else feels unkind.
Oh,
because I am at my limit of, like, there's only so much that I can handle, and I'm at that limit. So I assume that other people are at my emotional bandwidth.
Yeah.
And so it feels like I would never want someone to put another thing on my plate right now. So I feel terrible putting it on someone else's.
Interesting. Okay. I like that perspective. So for me, I take it more like, if I can't handle it all myself, I should have not signed up for this kind of a thing. Like,
but you have really good radical ownership, and I think that's great. That's good. We should all have that.
That's it. Like, if I can't take my kid to soccer, like, well, I should have thought of that before I signed them up, and I need to figure it out. It's kind of my thought process. Damn, homie. But that's still not a great way to live.
She's cutthroat with herself, y'all. Did you see that? Even the capture your confidence girlies are sometimes be tough.
Yes. But I mean, I think that, and part of it is like, look, I don't want to put this burden on someone else because I signed up for it and I said I would do it. And so I need to figure out a way to make it happen, but part of it also is like admitting to yourself, like, no, wait, I am like some kind of superhero and can do all the things. And then when you have to ask for help, it can feel like, oh, wait, no, actually you're not.
I'm not a superhero.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm a human and I'm having a hard time.
Yes.
And that is so uncomfortable.
Yes.
For so many women.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think, I have a hard time sorting out relationships. We were talking about this before we started the podcast episode, but to me, I have a hard time differentiating asking my parents or my friends for help than even I do with my staff members. Like, and my therapist was talking me through this, and she was like, you do understand that like a working relationship is transactional, in which you're paying someone to do a thing, versus like your friends and your family want to help you simply because they love you. And I'm like, no, nope. What is that? No.
Yeah. But that is an interesting point, because I do think at work, for me at least, people have roles to play. And so me putting something on someone else's plate is like an expectation. Like, well, this is part of your role. So surely, it's expected that you would do this task. And so it doesn't come with that same guilt. But then outside of that, like in the family dynamic, your friends and family don't have the role of helping you, at least not in my mind. And so for me to ask them is to putting something additional on their plate that's not already delegated for them.
Yeah. And I think the problem here too, that so many women face when asking for support is the idea that they're going to have to owe someone help later on that they don't necessarily have the bandwidth to fulfill. So like if I ask you to do this one thing for me now, I'm going to feel uneasy until I repay the favor. And I don't know about you, but I'm slightly off kilter at like when that favor is going to come in and what it's going to be and whether or not I'm going to have the bandwidth to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So part of my reasoning for not asking for help is often a future self-protection mechanism of like, I can't do things for other people.
Oh,
right now,
interesting.
Which is a very interesting concept too.
Okay. So how do we kind of flip this narrative and start to get the confidence to ask for help and recognize that it's like kind of part of the human experience?
Well, like anything, it is positive self-talk, action, repetition.
Yeah.
So I can give so many examples of the last week alone where I had to ask for help. So at the time that we are filming this, it is my husband's 40th birthday. And I had to ask my village for support in trying to pull off something to help celebrate his 40th birthday. And I screwed up and I got the dates wrong. And so I had to go and ask them for, okay, I know I asked you to help me on this day, but actually, can you help me on this other day instead? Right. And so I had to ask. And I think we build up this mental narrative of like, oh, they're going to be so annoyed. Oh, they're going to say, no, it's not going to work. All of these things when the response was simply, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so you make this to be a bigger thing than it really is. And so you have to just like, hey, like I'm going to ask for help and it's going to be a hard thing, but like they love me and they're either going to like have the bandwidth to help me or they're not. And then you're going to ask and then you're going to shut your mouth and you're going to let them say whether or not they can.
Yeah. I think that, that's obviously a very important piece of the puzzle is to just let people experience the joy of helping you.
This is very hard for me to wrap my head around. And I love your perspective on this. You always bring this to a conversation, whether it's a work conversation or like a family friend conversation, you giving someone else the opportunity to show up for you or to use their skills and talents. That is like a joyful opportunity for them. And you're sitting there thinking it's a burden because it's something you don't want to do or you don't have the space to do it. But someone else is actually super excited to have the chance to do that.
Yes. And you have to be the kind of friend that like gives them the space to do something that makes them feel good.
Yeah. An interesting thing too that I have noticed in my adult relationships is there are friends that I know I can go to and ask and they will tell me whether or not they can. And then I have friends that I could go to and they would say yes, no matter what. And so I often find myself, I don't go to the friends who would say yes, no matter what, because I feel extra bad because I have no idea whether or not they have the bandwidth, where I know I can go to Stephanie and I can say, hey, I need this. And she would either be straight with me and be like, yes, I can do that for you, or no, but let me pay for this thing that will solve this problem for you, or let me put you in touch with this person who will solve this problem for you. And she would do that. And I wouldn't be extra concerned about her bending over backwards when she didn't have the bandwidth to do it.
Yeah. And I think one thing that has worked for me well in this area is to try to think of ways that asking for help can be mutually beneficial for everyone. So for me, this comes up a lot in the sports world, right? And getting our kids to all these 100 practices and trainings and tournaments and all these things. And the times sometimes can be very close to when some people get off work and it's just a whole lot of logistics. And so trying to, even a carpool is a way of asking for help for yourself and for another parent. And so I just try to think of it in that way and say like, hey, if you can do this thing for me here, then I'm able to do it for you, at this time, and just try to come up with a way that it can help everyone and lessen everyone's load.
And what that does is it eliminates the future, oh shoot,
yes,
I'm going to have to repay this favor burden.
Yeah.
Because it's you do this for me, I do that for you.
Yep.
So that is actually a really smart thing, especially if you're doing that in a place where you're like, historically, like maybe there's another mom on carpool duty who, is going to, she gonna come back and ask for it.
Right.
So we're gonna go ahead and shore this one up right here and now. Like I'm gonna pick them up, you're gonna drop them off, and it's done and dusted, baby.
Yes.
I think there's also something to be said about this idea that we have to be it all. Like we have to be the independent, dependable one to do it all. Like our children do not have the expectation that we are the martyrs that do literally everything for them. And I do not know why we are still so beholden to this.
I know. It's so funny you say that. I think because we want to be in this like super mom mode, we set the image that we can do everything. And so this happened today. There's a birthday party that my son cannot go to. This is maybe the first, maybe the second or third birthday party of his 9-year life that we have not been able to attend something that he was invited to. And it's at a place he loves and thinks it would be so fun. But we're going to be out of town and we're celebrating your sister's birthday, and I'm not leaving early to get you to this thing. But embarrassed to admit, I thought for a second, like, how can I manipulate this whole trip to celebrate my other child?
Ruin my daughter's birthday so that my son doesn't feel the discomfort of not showing up for his friend.
Yes. And then I had to snap myself back into reality and, think of how silly that sounded. But we just have conditioned ourselves so much to like want to meet everyone else's needs all the time. And sometimes like we have to ask for help. We have to say no to things. We don't get to do everything we want. And it's actually probably really beneficial for our kid to experience that.
And the thing that we don't remember in the moment that we're trying to be the martyr and figure it all out is that our children are watching us do that, and they're learning that behavior, and they're going to do it themselves.
Yeah.
And so if you feel like a bitch asking for help, might I remind you that when your daughter is floundering with a newborn and can't keep up with the weight of things, you're showing her that it's not okay to ask for help when she's floundering.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's not going to snap you out of it, I don't know what will.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but I don't want to be everything to everyone. I don't want to be the one responsible with the weight of all the things. I just want to be the mom that loves her kid, the woman who does great work at what she does, and the friend who shows up for her people when she needs it. I think at our core, all of us just want that thing. And nowhere in that resume does it say literal everything to everyone.
Yeah. And that's why the quicker we can get comfortable with this notion of asking for help and recognize like how closely related it is to confidence, the better.
Yeah, because think about it. Your unwillingness to make other people uncomfortable is a lack of confidence. It's a lack of confidence that you're worth what they're worth. Your time is worth what their time is worth. Your desires are worth what they're worth. It's a lack of confidence that you can tolerate the discomfort of them not liking the question that you're asking. It's all of those things. And so you're forced to call people pleasing what it really is, and martyrdom what it really is, which is just simply a lack of self-worth.
Yeah.
All right, let's get tactical, Steph.
Yes. My fave.
What does this look like?
So I think it means, to me, right? If I'm asking someone for help, I have to be really specific about what I need, when I need it, like really outline it, and then just phrase it and frame it in a way that makes it really easy for them to say yes or no.
Yep. It's totally a yes or no question. I love this specificity because often we'll find ourselves so overwhelmed that we're just like, I don't know, I just need help. And that's so not like, what is someone supposed to do with that for you, babe?
Yeah. You have to make it easy for people to help you. A big piece of this obviously is trying to plan for the ask as much as you can, because we get to, when we're at the breaking point is when the like, oh, I don't even know what I need. Like
wheels are off the bus.
Yes. So as much obviously as we can anticipate, like, hey, in 3 weeks, this thing is coming up and I have this thing at work. Can you do A, B, and C?
And I do think all of us could learn the lesson of asking sooner and anticipating the spiral before it happens. Like, ooh, I'm feeling stretched.
Yes.
Where could I remove something from my plate before it gets to be the point where we're cross-eyed crying and saying, can you help me? But we can't articulate what we need help with.
Yeah. And this is okay. This is a little advanced here, but I think you guys are ready for it. You guys are ready. So if you're coming off at the end of like a really stressful time and you're like, man, I wish I would have done A, B, and C. Go to your calendar and go 6 months out, 8 months out, and just put a little note that says, hey, February is actually a really busy month, so that in kind of December, January, you like have that kind of preempting in your mind And then you can start to think about it better for next year.
I do this from a work capacity all the time in review. If we have a launch and it's like, okay, these things went well. These are the things we want to change in the future. I go ahead and I'm like, okay, next time I'm scheduling these things ahead of time. Like I'm already preemptively doing that. But you can do that in your personal life, right? Like if you know that buying Christmas presents at the tail end of the year is always a shit show. Hi, have you met putting something on your calendar on November 1st that prompts you to start that process way sooner, right?
Yeah.
You know, so just thinking ahead and how can you engineer. If you're not going to ask for help for someone else, ask for help from yourself, babe.
Right.
The other thing is like learning how to not micromanage once you've asked for help.
Yeah.
Which for us type A baby child is not the funnest.
It's tricky. It's tricky.
It is hard. And I get it. And, you know, if I had $1 for every time I refolded a sweater that Brian folded, right? Like I'm not trying to act like I'm not a girl that can do this. But you do have to kind of figure out how to pass off something to someone else and let them fly. And if it gets messed up, they can either fix the problem or you can live with the consequence of it not being perfect.
Yeah. And I think inventory what feels very important to you and what's less important. So like dishes, I am not a person. I don't care about dishes, about how you wash them, about how you load the dishwasher, how you take the dishwasher out. When you do it, I don't really care. A sink full of dishes is not going to send me into a tizzy. I mean, a whole counter will probably irritate me, but a sink full is not really an issue for me. So I can let my husband tag team that task with zero complaints, instruction, redirection from me.
No notes.
No notes needed. Do this if you want to do it before bed, if you want to do it in the morning, however you'd like to do it.
Exactly.
You know, I don't care. There's other things that I'm like a little more persnickety about. And so I don't outsource as much of those things because like I want, you know, some of the
Mama
control.
wants it the way she wants it.
Yes. So I do think that is important because if you're going to ask for help, you have to let go of the expectation. And that doesn't mean just ignore your feelings, but it just means be strategic about what you're outsourcing.
For sure. And one of the things that I just continually lean on in my ever challenging pursuit to ask for help from people, and it always makes me feel better. And it always relays like what I want to relay, which is deep gratitude. And so if I'm feeling bad, I'm going to lead with, I so appreciate you for showing up for me all the time, right? I'm going to lead with that feeling of gratitude and I'm going to bookend it, beginning and end. Thank you so much for all you do for me.
Yeah.
And also, again, at the tail end, right? So that they can feel the sincerity because A, it's true. And B, I don't think that we make enough time to tell people how important they are and how impactful they are in our everyday life. And so it does sort of balm the ask a little bit.
Yeah. And I think too, you know, recognizing that this is probably, especially if you're a person who does not like to do this, right? This is not going to feel great. That doesn't mean it's wrong. That doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. I think that you have to kind of rip the Band-Aid to a certain extent and pick something that would be easy for you to ask for help with and practice with that so that it can start to feel better.
And the other thing that I want to bring up about this, because I mentioned that I was on a retreat with a bunch of women who were talking about this. Every single woman in that retreat was in one of two camps. A woman who either had a house manager or a woman who desperately wanted a house manager. Okay. And I'm saying this to you, it might sound like out of the realm of like who would ever. I am just telling you right now, there is not a woman that I have ever met that did not struggle with the burden of keeping up with everyday life, managing their kids and their family and their household and running a business or having a career. There's not a woman that doesn't struggle with that. And so you can take heart in knowing that whatever it is that you're feeling about this is not an unusual thing.
Yeah. It's common. And the quicker that we can start to make the ask and let go of the guilt, right? The quicker we're modeling it for our kids, the quicker we're feeling the relief, the quicker we're allowing others to feel the joy of doing something kind. And then also you're able to repay the favor as well.
Exactly. So we hope this helps, moms.
Yes.
Talk soon.
Bye-bye.